Three stories you want to tell about then?
Any what?
Stories.
I don't know. Can you think of any stories I should tell?
Well,
I was always getting in trouble, so I'm afraid to bring anything up. Uh, no, it was a busy household, and everybody was doing their thing, and it was crowded. And I can tell a story about your closet.
Claire.
Okay, we had 2 bedrooms, and then a sun porch, and there were 6 of us, 8, with mom and dad. And he built a cabin in the back for the boys, for the 2 older boys. And then Howard ended up sleeping in a walk-in closet, and because he was in the room where my sister and I slept. And so we'd be getting ready for school, and he'd say, "Can I come out yet?" We'd say, "No, no." So we'd stay in the closet. And so then finally we'd let him get out, then we'd go to school, and he was always late because we never got it, and we only had, not a lot of facilities for that many people. Anyway, so I was gone for a lot of years. My husband and I left for about 20 years. And so I came back, and I was in the beauty shop, and his teacher, Mrs. Dybert, she was in there, and she said, "Arlene, I don't think I ever had you as a student." And I said, "No, I don't think you did. But I remember your brother Howard. He was always late." She remembered that all those years. And I said there was a reason for that. We kept him in the closet, but it was a nice closet. It was big.
How do you know?
I slept in it too.
You tell that story.
What?
Reagan.
Oh, he put off getting a popcorn machine or a candy counter because back in those days there was loyalty on the main street, and the man across the street sold candy and all that. And so they said, "Why don't you put candy and concessions in here?" He said, "No, Lou Gehrig does the candy. I'm not going to worry about that." But he finally did give in to a popcorn machine. And so we got a popcorn machine, and I got to learn how to use it and made really good popcorn. But one night after, everything got settled and got looking good up there, Ronald Reagan and Jane Wyman came in. And that's when they were having their troubles with their marriage, and they were trying to, I guess, patch it up. But anyway, and so I looked up, and there was Ronald Reagan, and I thought, my God, that's Ronald Reagan. I was so starstruck. And then Jane Wyman, and so he said, "You got popcorn?" I said, "Oh yeah, we got popcorn." And I put the popcorn in there for him. And then he went upstairs at the lodge. And so I ran up to tell my mom. I said, "You know who's up here?" And she says, "Well, no, who?" I said, "That was Jane Wyman and Ronald Reagan." "Oh, well, I just asked them to take their popcorn off the ledge so it wouldn't fall down on the feet." his safe, all his money was in the box office on Main Street. He had a cement safe down the bottom, and then I just put the money in there at night, lock it up, and it was sitting right on the Main Street in plain sight.
And when we got robbed, they broke in and they went up to the office upstairs, and there was a little wall safe. I don't think we even had combination to it. But my brother put a sign out on the door saying, "Caution, gas bomb trigger set." They ransacked the office, never opened that safe. But it wasn't anything in it. But the Reverend didn't like the type of movies his dad was showing. He said that it was unhealthy and on Sundays, so that's when Dad rebutted in the newspaper about the quality of theaters the movies he showed and how he picked them and it was wholesome entertainment, and the community approved it because so many of his people who went to church also went to the movie on Sunday, so.
Yeah, but there was some time when he was orphaned, and he and his brother Charlie, they got together and they traveled the rails and went places. And then Dad was only about 8, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He was 8 and Charlie was 12.
But
He was-
fortunately, a family took him in, and he was a doctor, and they had two girls, a couple girls, and a pretty ranch, and they had trotting ponies and all this stuff. Very, very nice place. He spent, I think, several years there. I don't know for sure, but I know he spent several years there. And he learned perfect manners, and he learned, they were just a real nice family. And he stayed there, and he learned how to do that pony racing stuff and all that. But then he left there, and then he hooked up with Charlie again, and then they got in the cattle and sheep war or whatever.
Well, he wandered all over when he was a kid. He was in Wyoming and Texas and working on ranches and cotton fields, and that's where he learned his trade as a ventriloquist. Was self-taught. He saw these traveling road shows come through, and he thought that would like be his forte. And every time Dad got some money, Charlie would show up and take him on some venture and go broke, and Dad would part off and do his gig, and then Charlie would show up again. And he was traveling with what they call Chautauqua, which is now community concerts. They traveled all over the country, these traveling road shows. And he came to Bishop with Chautauqua, and he was the man who went out in front of the curtains during the scenery changes. And he was a ventriloquist and a magician, and had a little trained dog, and played drums and banjo, and he did all those things and entertained the crowd in front of the curtain while they changed the scenery. And he, when the show went on, he went to Tonopah, and he decided he wanted to come back to Bishop and live here.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Take 762.
All right, we would like to give you the opportunity to be part of Bishop's Historical Movie Theater. That's not what it said. We would like to give you the opportunity to be part of Bishop's Historical Movie Theater by purchasing a personalized engraved plate. A minimum donation of $100 will give you the opportunity to have your plate mounted on the top backside of one of our brand new chairs. Thank you.
Very well done. Very well done.
That was
Good?
awesome.
Is it?
Yep.
I didn't-
before us.
He didn't tell a lot about his life. He was pretty private. And so we really don't know what all went on with his younger years, but I think he had plenty of action because he never wanted to talk about anything. He was rolling around trying to get settled.
Well, he worked. We didn't see a whole lot of him because he worked, from 8 in the morning to 12 at night, And he'd come home for supper, and we all had to be there for supper. I told him in supper time, rest time, he was working. So a lot of this work he was talking about, these contacts with people he was doing, unknown to us. So he didn't talk much about it.
He wasn't home very much either.
No.
I mean, the hours with our family didn't really coincide very well, but he made it work. But Mom, he always made sure my mother had help because there were 6 of us, and that was a lot of kids to be taken care of. So, but he was gone. He was here, and then he'd come home and we'd go to school, and he'd be sleeping.